Hello there everyone, this is Marcbrightside and welcome back to Yume Nikki. Still hard to believe that I actually have a somewhat decent upload schedule for this LP now. Anyway, we have a lot of things planned for this part, but first of all I'm going to be showing off something that I mentioned early on in the LP, so that was about 5 years ago from now. What date is it today? Never mind. Anyway, you may remember this video game console next to the TV I mentioned in part 1. Well, there is actually a game we can play on it. Weirdly, you can't play the console sitting down, you have to be stood up in your bedroom while you play. But anyway, welcome to Let's Play NASU. Only 2 controls here. You push enter to start the game, and you can move and jump. This is the most depressing minigame ever crafted by human hands. You jump, and you catch the eggplants, and you feel a little bit miserable while you play it. Oh, what a shame. I missed the eggplant. Game over. Again! Yeah, there's no goal here. All you do is jump, collect the eggplants, increase your score, and feel as if you're wasting your time. But I had to show it off sooner or later, so it might as well be now. Again! Yeah, we're not going to play any more of that. Anyway, on to the main focus of this video. You may recall a part or two ago I mentioned that scattered throughout the dream world there were 5 beds. I incorrectly said there were 4 beds. In part 3 there are actually 5. And every time you fall asleep, there's a 1 in 5 chance that sleeping in one of the 5 beds will transport you to an area that you can't reach otherwise. The bed is randomized, so really you just have to try them all until one works. There are 3 beds that are within very easy access of where you start. There's a bed in the snow world, which is just down here. If you just go down and to the left, you can find it. There's a bed in the number world, which we'll be going to next. And there's also the actual bed that you use to enter the dream world. So you fall asleep in that bed, and then when you go into the dream world, you can go back into the bed, and there's a chance it could take you somewhere else. So if you're lucky, you could actually get here immediately after falling asleep. A lot of the time it doesn't work out that way, but hey, on occasion it will. Not very often. Especially with my luck with this LP. I must say though, I've been doing quite well with the randomized events. I've been getting most of them, aside from the wall glitch in the last part, I've been doing pretty well. I've been getting most of them within less than 3 attempts, usually. And my phone is ringing, so I will be back in 1 moment. Yeah, sorry about that, that was my fiancé on the phone. Anyway, in this section of the number world, which you can reach by going through that left door that I conveniently talked over before I got interrupted, we'll find this area full of beds, and I believe there are 72 beds here. It's either 72 or 78, I think. If I'm wrong, there will be a title flash up on screen now. But anyway, I'm just showing that, well, I say I'm showing that you can interact with any of the other beds. I don't actually remember which bed you can interact with. But yeah, there's one of these beds here that will count towards the 5 located in the dream world. And it just so happens to be this one here, and no, I don't get lucky. Of course not. Why would I? I've actually been told on numerous occasions that you can find something in one of these cupboards on occasion. I've never had this happen to me, and I don't know what I'm supposed to find, but apparently I'm not sure. I'm going to look into this and come back here on a later date, but while we're in the neighborhood, we can approach this bloody zipper on the wall to be taken to somewhere new. And get ready to run. This is a very small, very closed-off area. In fact, it's only a screen and a half wide, so it loops very, very quickly. and there are lunatic Turinigan running around the area, and your goal here is just to interact with one of the 2 guillotines in the area without getting caught by them. For some reason they're moving a lot slower than they normally do, I'm not sure why. Interacting with one of the guillotines will give us the severed head effect, which, as you can probably imagine, given the nature of where we got it from, will turn us into a severed head, and effectively make us a human snail. It has absolutely no practical use whatsoever. In fact, it's actually hindering because it slows your movement speed to a crawl. Anyway, the final of the 3 beds that are within easy access, like I said before, is the one in your bedroom, and it just so happens that this time, it's the correct bed. Taking us here will lead us to the Staircase of Hands. I wonder why it's called that. If we go down from the Staircase of Hands, we will, it takes quite a while to get down there, we'll arrive in this metallic tunnel, well, it looks more like a sewer tunnel to be honest, with a gateway to the mall. Also taking this route will guarantee that that traffic cone in front of the escalator will be gone, and going back out through those doors will just take us back to the graffiti world. So I suppose if you get lucky with the beds, then this could be a very quick way of getting to the mall, but it's not that hard to reach anyway through the graffiti world, so what's the point? Anyway, now to show off a genuine glitch. If you sit at your desk when you're in the dream world and equip an effect, you can actually pop off of your desk while using the effect, and your movement speed will double. If you use the bike for the effect, it can be done with any effect, but if you use the bike, it will actually quadruple your speed, which is what you're seeing now. Downsides to this are the game still thinks that you have an effect equipped, so you can interact with anything that you couldn't interact with if you were on the bike, because the game thinks that you are, you know, riding the bicycle. And also the sound of her footsteps gets very annoying when played at 4 times the normal speed. Back on the Staircase of Hands, if we were to head up right, then it will just take us back out to the bed that we first entered in, and the beds will re-randomize. So I will see you back for one last thing. If you go into the snow world and equip the hat and scarf effect, this is what I was talking about in the last video, you can activate a small little detail that might seem irrelevant, but is actually useful for getting one of the more obscure Easter eggs in the game. Pressing the 1 button when it's snowing while you're wearing the hat and scarf effect will actually turn you into a snowman. And this will work if you made it snow with the Yoko Ono effect, or if you're in the snow world and you equip the hat and scarf. However, if you do this through the Yoko Ono effect, then you'll have no way to make it stop snowing, so the snow will follow you wherever you go. In order to get this Easter egg to work, you have to turn into a snowman while you're in the snow world, and then find the bed that will take you to the Staircase of Hands. Luckily that time it was the bed that's actually in the snow world, because this thing moves crawlingly slowly and you can't use the speed glitch to increase it either, so making your way to any of the other beds can be quite tedious. But if we head towards the left, past the entryway to the mall, we can stand next to this fire while we're the snowman, and we'll start to melt. I don't know how anyone was meant to find this Easter egg. This is probably the single most obscure thing in the whole game, although maybe the wall glitch from the last video could count, but either way, if you stand in front of this fire for long enough, you will eventually become a small puddle wearing a hat. And while we're a puddle wearing a hat, we can't do anything. The only way you can get out of this, you can't even pinch yourself awake, the only way you can get out of this is by pressing the 1 button and turning back into Hat and Scarf Maritsuki. I actually get interrupted again when I was actually recording the footage this time, so I had to come back. I don't remember what happened. I recorded this yesterday and I've already forgotten what interrupted me there. Never mind, it's not important now. But coming back here for the last time, if we go towards the fire... Why am I pausing? If we go towards the fire and equip either the Yoko Ono or the umbrella effect, we can douse the flames and continue down the corridor that was previously blocked off. And if you can hear that metallic humming in the background, that will get substantially louder when we get into this room, which I call the generator room. I don't think it actually has a name, and we'll meet the first mouth monster of the game. There are 3 of these in the dream world, and interacting with each of them will give you an effect that's based around changing your hairstyle. They also follow you as well, which gets a bit annoying. This hairstyle turns your hair into a big pile of poo. Charming. Anyway, if we head into the right, we're on a spaceship. Yeah. See? Outer space and everything. This man at the piano is called Masada. He is a boss-eyed alien wearing a black one-piece who has become very, very popular with the fan base. A lot of people really like this character. You can play the notes on the piano just by interacting with it normally. He also moonwalks away from you if you threaten him with the knife, much like Dave Spector does. But aside from playing around on his piano, if you talk to him as well, he'll also make a sound effect that might sound quite familiar to anyone that's played the original Mario games. Sleeping in his bed has a 1 in 3 chance of triggering another event, although it's not a case of to reset the randomizer you have to leave the room. You can just keep going in and out of his bed until it works, so it's not nearly as tedious as some of the other events in the game. If you're doing it right, the screen will fade completely to black, and then we hear this. Sounds like there are problems aboard the ship. If we go back out into the main hall, we can see Masada is in a state of panic. And we can see this because his character sprite is rotating in a very small circle. If we talk to him, he makes a higher pitched sound than normal. Attempting to leave the spaceship will trigger a crash. Boom. See out the window? You see that background? We're on Mars. No, I'm not joking. We're actually on Mars. If we go back out, there's now a ramp in the floor that will lead us onto the surface of the red rock itself. The only way we can go from here is left, so we'll just keep heading left, admiring the very well-drawn background, actually. And keep heading left, enjoying the ambient music. Something does happen eventually, I swear. And when we get to the top of this hill, there's a small hole in the ground that we can walk through by activating the midget effect. But first of all, here's something stupid you can do. If you equip the cat and then start meowing at the top of this hill, a small pixelated blob might fly on screen. You can just barely see it. And you can get up to 3 of these to appear, and they don't really do anything. I'm not sure what they're supposed to be. Maybe UFOs? I don't know. Anyway, let's equip the midget effect and head down into the surface of Mars. What kind of a monster would live here? Cold, isolated from the rest of the world. This has been Marcbrightside, and we'll see you all next time.